Welcome students, myself SC Kunday from Gokhale Education Society's JDC Bitco English Medium High School, Nasik Road. Previously we have discussed physical properties of metal and non-metals, chemical properties of metals, reactivity series of metals. Next topic is chemical properties of non-metals. Non-metals are collection of elements having less similarity in physical and chemical properties. Non-metals are also called electronegative elements. They form negatively charged ions by accepting electrons. First is reaction of non-metal with oxygen. Generally, non-metal combines with oxygen to form acidic oxide. In some cases, neutral oxides are formed. See in the first reaction, carbon plus oxygen. C means carbon is a non-metal plus oxygen O2, which combine to form CO2. In this reaction, the complete combustion is taking place. In the second reaction, 2C, that is 2 carbon plus O2. In partial combustion, 2CO, that is neutral oxide is formed. Second is reaction of non-metal with water. Generally, non-metals do not react with water except the halogens. For example, chlorine on dissolving in water gives the following reaction, that is Cl2, it is in gaseous form, plus H2O in liquid form, which form HOCl plus HCl. Third reaction, reaction of dilute acid with non-metal. Non-metal do not react with dilute acid. Halogens are exception to this. Chlorine gas, which is react with twice HBr to form twice HCl plus Br2. Next is reaction of non-metals with hydrogen. Non-metals react with hydrogen under certain conditions such as proper temperature, pressure and use of catalyst. Non-metal sulfur, which is react with hydrogen gas to form H2S. Next topic is ionic compounds. The compounds formed from two units, namely cations and anions, are called ionic compound. The cation and anions being positively charged, there is an electrostatic force of attraction between them. You know that this force of attraction between cation and anion is called as the ionic bond. The number of cation and anion in an compound and the magnitude of the electric charge on them is such that the positive and negative charges balance each other, and as a result an ionic compound is electrically neutral. The ionic compounds are crystalline in nature. The surfaces of all the particles of a crystalline substance have a definite shape and are smooth and shiny. The regular arrangement of ion in the solid ionic compound is responsible for their crystalline nature. The two important factors responsible for a certain crystal structure. The first is size of the positively and negatively charged ions, and second is magnitude of the electrical charge on the ion. The electrostatic attraction in the neighboring ion with opposite charges is very strong. That is why the melting point of ionic compounds are high. Also, the ionic compound are hard and brittle. Here, example of sodium chloride is given. Na plus and Cl minus. They combine to form ionic compound NaCl. Common salt which we are using. The next topic, properties of ionic compound. It is reduced from your syllabus. Now, metallurgy. Now, what do you mean by the metallurgy? The science and technology regarding the extraction of metal from ores and their purification for the use is called metallurgy. Occurrence of metals. Most of the metals being reactive do not occur in nature in free state but are found in combined state as their salt such as oxides, carbonates, sulfides and nitrates. The most unreactive metal that are not affected by air, water and other natural factors like silver, gold, platinum generally occur in free state. The compounds of metals that occurs in nature along with the impurities are called minerals. The minerals from which the metal can be separated economically are called ores. Ores contain many types of impurities such as soil, sand and rocky substances along with the metal compounds. These impurities are called gangue. Next topic is concentration of ores. The process of separating gangue from the ores is called concentration of ore. In this process, the concentration of the compound of the desired metal is increased. There are 4 methods for concentration of ore. The first is separation based on gravitation, then leaching, froth floatation method and magnetic separation method. First method is Wilfle table method. In this method of separation, the Wilfle table is made by fixing narrow and thin wooden riffle on inclined surface. The table is kept vibrating continuously. Powdered ore obtained from lumps of the ore using ball mill is poured on the table and a stream of water is also released from the upper side. As a result, the lighter gangue particles are carried away along with the flowing water, while the heavier particle in which proportion of minerals is more and proportion of gangue is less are blocked by the wooden riffles and get collected on the slit between them. Next method is hydraulic separation method. In this method, it is based on the working of a mill. There is a tapering vessel similar to that used in grinding mill. It opens in a tank like container that is tapering on the lower side. The tank has an outlet for water on the upper side and water inlet on the lower side. Finally, ground ore is released in the tank. A forceful jet of water is introduced in the tank from the lower side. Gangue particles are lighter and therefore they flow out along with the water jet from the outlet on the upper side of the tank and get collected separately. At the same time, the heavy particle of the ore are collected at the bottom, the lower side of the tank. This method is based on the law of gravitation, wherein particles of the same size are separated by their weight with the help of a water. Next method is magnetic separation method. In this method requires an electromagnetic machine. The main part of the machine are of two types, iron roller and the conveyor belt moving continuously around them. One of the roller is non-magnetic while the other is electromagnetic. The conveyor belt moving around the roller is made up of leather or brass. The powder ore is poured on the conveyor belt near the non-magnetic roller. The particle of non-magnetic part in the ore are not attracted towards the magnetic roller. They are carried further along the belt and fall in the collector vessel places each away from the magnetic roller. At the same time, the particle of the magnetic ingredient of the ore stick to the magnetic roller. Therefore, fall in the collector vessel near the magnetic roller. In this way, the magnetic and non-magnetic ingredients in the ore can be separated depending on their magnetic nature. Next is froth flotation method. It is based on the two opposite properties, hydrophilic and hydrophobic, of the particles. The particles of metal sulfides, due to their hydrophobic property, get wetted mainly with oil, while due to the hydrophilic property, the gangue particle get wetted with water. And by using these properties, the ore are concentrated by froth flotation method. In this method, the finely ground ore is put into a big tank containing ample amount of water. Certain vegetable oil such as pine oil, eucalyptus oil is added in the water for the formation of froth. Pressurized air is blown through the water. There is an agitator rotating around its axis in the center of the flotation tank. The agitator is used as per the requirement. Bubbles are formed due to the blown air. Due to the agitation, a foam is formed from oil, water and air bubbles together. Due to the agitation, last method is leaching. The first step in the extraction of the metal aluminium and gold and silver from their ore is the method of leaching. In this method, the ore is soaked in a certain solution for a long time. The ore dissolves in that solution due to a specific chemical reaction. The gangue, however, does not react and therefore does not dissolve in that solution. So it can be separated. For example, concentration of bauxite is done by leaching method. Here bauxite is soaked in aqueous NaOH or in aqueous Na2CO3, which dissolve the main ingredient alumina in it. Thank you students. Take care of yourself.